Hey folks, welcome to another edition of Fitness Friday Posi-TIPS with Rachelle, folks, where on Fitness Friday, it is always the best day of the week. Gotta love it. Folks, I was gone this week, but I am back here and so excited for today's episode, continuing this series on confidence. And we are going to kick off this episode. Now, I've got to just share with you, I mentioned last time how important certainly confidence is in this entire series. But I mentioned last time how confidence undergirds a lot of what I do professionally. Working with other people, I'm always about empowering other people, challenging other people to come up higher in terms of confidence. Love it, love it, love it, love it. And that is certainly an underlying theme of Fitness Fridays. And so it's been a few years now since I've been doing these Fitness Friday episodes, and they have certainly evolved. Some of you have actually been with me since the beginning of these episodes. And so excited for all of your support, and they have certainly evolved because, at the very beginning, the whole rah, get fit, stay fit, and I realized that I did not have the ability to sustain that over time. That's just, a lot of people, that's their niche, they're able to do that, but just me personally, that's just, not a good fit for me. I'm much more passionate, and it's just, when we go through life, we have different endeavors, and we have different types of commitments and involvements, and we need to recognize that, we can pivot, we can make changes, we can go in a different direction. And I know for me here on Fitness Fridays, combining my passion, yes, for fitness, for business, as well as leadership, has certainly been for me a winning combination in terms of my ability to remain committed, remain passionate, remain, persevere throughout anything that goes on. I'm always here on Fitness Fridays, and so I'm always excited to be here. But so we've got to recognize, it's hard to be confident when we're pursuing something that we're not passionate about, that we that we really don't, truly, we really, don't want to be doing, or we may have lost enthusiasm for it, or perhaps it's not our strongest suit. And so for me personally, the whole rah, not even just in fitness, but in life, that's just really, I'm just very big on motivation. I'm very big on innate motivation or intrinsic motivation. And so for me, that's always going to be a challenge, when I'm in that situation in terms of a long-term focus. But so, Fitness Fridays, you've certainly learned. I've shared so many different things, everything from leadership to sales. This year was actually my first series on sales, to marketing, to fitness trends. There's just been so much that I've covered, but there's probably no concept. HR, HR is so important. Haven't done an HR series in a long time. Gonna come back to HR sometime in the fall, and so look forward to that. But the SWOT analysis. There's probably no concept that I have highlighted more on these Fitness Fridays, particularly after I pivoted towards more of a leadership focus and looking at the business of fitness, certainly, which is something I'm very passionate about, is the SWOT analysis, and recognizing, going back to those old lessons for me, or at Northwestern, where we truly learned the power of the SWOT analysis. And I've shared this a number of times, as I mentioned, in many different contexts, but it's a fundamental business concept, because oftentimes many people are caught flat-footed by competitors that they did not see coming. Now you've got a new entrant in the market, you've got a new entrant that's come down the street, and now you've got an attrition problem. Now you've got a member retention problem that you didn't see coming. And so it's always important for us to try to be as prepared as we can. Control, that old saying, control what you can control. Control what you can control. I used to hear that in the corporate world, and I used to despise that concept, because people were always saying that. Control what you can control. It was sales meetings, national sales meetings, you always heard that term. But as I recognize now, just what simple wisdom is inherent in that phrase. We gotta control what we can control. There's always gonna be situations that pop up, surprises, the surprises of life, so to speak, but we can do our best to be prepared, and that is so important. And the SWOT analysis is a great way to do that. And so these episodes, of course, in addition to discussing the SWOT analysis, these have been so much fun. You got to think about it. It takes a lot. I truly love these. For me to keep doing these all these years, and that truly, I'll be probably 95 years old, and it'll be Fitness Friday Positive Tips with Granny, and so that you just kind of always know, personally and professionally, when you've really hit your sweet spot, when you're willing to keep on keeping on despite anything. And certainly this is my forum to give back. This is my channel, this is my platform to give back, these Fitness Friday Positive Tips and regular Positive Tips episodes. And so that's my way of just giving back to people, giving back to society, making a difference. And so for me, the evolution, of course, of Fitness Fridays, not commercialized. I don't endorse companies, I don't endorse manufacturers, I don't endorse gyms, I don't do referrals. I highlight a number of entities, and I have over the years, but that's certainly for informational purposes and certainly in the context of what my discussions are. Said that, you've seen a number, it seems like a gazillion of episodes over the years, but that's just a way of highlighting points, not pointing, to a particular facility or entity saying this is the way to go, do this, do that. But at the end of the day, I'm all about challenging your thinking. See, that's the consulting role that I have. And so consultants, what do? Come in and theoretically come in and take an objective look at things and say, okay, this is what's going on. These are some issues. These are some recommendations that I have. And so, but that point and that part of being, the importance of being objective is so important. So I often used to say on these episodes, you have to picture me standing off, just picture me standing off to the side, observing what is going on and commenting and sharing my thoughts and recommendations or whatever the case may be. Because it's so important, whereas these episodes are done from a professional, or done on a professional level, and are a professional reflection of me, as opposed to, whereas on a personal level, those are the type of videos where you see people, oh, I love this entity, or I love my gym, I love this, I love that, and they're speaking from a personal level. And certainly, yes, I could do that, but this is a professional, these are professionally rooted episodes from the standpoint that I, do not do those type of endorsements. I do not sit here and push this, push that, don't have sponsors, don't promote products, none of that. Because again, that clouds the objectivity. When you've got, and there's nothing wrong with that. And there's a lot of people who do that, and that's wonderful for them, but I just made the decision when I evolved and had these two main objectives, which you've heard me say over the years for these episodes. Number one, tell the truth. Number two, help people. And so the commercialization and all of that clouds, because then you've got to start, saying certain things and not saying certain things and promoting things, and it just the spirit of what I want to do. I want to remain objective. I want to be able to have the freedom to tell the truth in these episodes, because again, that's what consultants do. That's theoretically we're supposed to come in there and say stuff and point out things in any situation, business, regardless of the type of entity it is. Come in, look at a situation, evaluate it objectively, because again, people don't call consultants. They want an objective opinion. That's why they call people like that. And so they want a certain approach, and that's what we are there to do. And so that's what these are very consulting-oriented episodes. At times, I know that it seems that I've spoken against my own interest. At times, particularly, and this is a big one for me, and I've been saying this since 2018, and this is something, that was a few years after I even started doing these episodes. And that is the importance of recognizing that, particularly, okay, so let me, in the framework of the SWOT analysis, this just kind of popped into my head, and I'll share this. So when you look at these episodes, so I'm is one who, leadership development, leadership training and all of that is part of what I do professionally. So I could look at this situation and say, okay, the district manager in the fitness industry, in terms of fitness facilities, district manager, possibly regional director level, definitely, and above, meaning we're talking about, high level, whether going up to the franchisee or owner if it's a private facility or corporate, whatever the framework or the structure may be, can look at these episodes and say, oh my goodness, this is an opportunity that individual or a group of individuals are looking to self-actualize in those roles. Look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, which I've highlighted before. So they look and say, oh my goodness, this is an opportunity, to grow, to really enhance what we're doing, to take things to the next level. But you got to understand, and this is why I've said year after year after year, and this is the last point I'm going to make here before I move on into some of this content. And that is at the club level, so general manager, club employees, you got to recognize that on a general rule, when you tell people, it always just randomly, oh, you know what, I started watching these Fitness Friday episodes, they're good, whatever, I find value in them. And then all of a sudden that person decides to make everyone on the team or that's the entire staff start watching these episodes. And you got to understand that at that club level, you got to recognize these, more than likely, individuals will perceive this as a threat. And I'm telling you this as a professional, yes, not only consultant, but trainer. All right, I have a training background, and training is so important. And because these episodes are so leadership and leadership development focused, you got to understand, where the threat could be. Particularly when I'm talking about HR, and those are some challenging episodes where you're talking about HR and the staff and all of that, and you're watching this. And if I were in that situation watching that, and I'd be thinking, this person, higher level person will say, oh my goodness, this is a way to take things to the next level. Whereas someone who's not in that situation, particularly in a club role inside a club or facility, is looking at that thinking, am I about to lose my job? And I'm just being honest, I'm being real, I'm telling you this as a trainer. Training is so important to, particularly if it's, you just tell people indefinitely, just watch this, and they're just supposed to, as long as they work there, watch this. And I've said this a few times over the years, just don't do it. I'm telling you this as a trainer, it's so important from a training perspective, because that's what that has become. If somebody's watching this episode long term, that has become training. That has become a training mechanism, informal training mechanism, depending on who, if HR makes that decision and decides that's the way they want to go, and they're not, they're sanctioned versus unsanctioned training. And so from an HR perspective, it's really important to recognize that could be a source. This is a very tough job market. I mean, I've said this whole discussion that I'm having now, I've mentioned this a number of times, but with today's job market, you cannot afford to lose people. And I tell you this, that when people perceive that their position or their employment is under threat, it's being threatened, pardon me, they're going to leave. And attrition can be an issue, and particularly in a corporate type of situation where a poor HR manager, HR director, VP of HR, SVP of HR will wonder what in the world is going on at a particular facility or facilities, and they've got attrition and they don't know what happened, and all of a sudden, bam, people start leaving. Because what happens when people feel threatened, people leave. And it's not only in the fitness industry, but it's just an HR tenet. So it may seem like I speak against my own interests. And Rachelle, don't you want the most number of people to watch this as possible? Absolutely not. Not if it's going to cost you your people. And I'm just telling you this from experience. Please, please be very mindful of that. Be very mindful of that. And certainly, even in my own facility, even if, I belong to a facility, or if I join your facility and you decide, okay, I see what you do, and I'm going to have my staff watch you. Very bad idea. Because once again, I'm here in a professional capacity. So I'm not going to be rah, talking about my gym all the time. If you've seen me long enough, you've seen episodes. I spend, except for last year where the gyms were closed, every 4 to 6 weeks, I'm in a different gym, whether it's at a grand opening, or it's at, I get guest passes, and I resumed doing that on July 1st of this year. And so sometimes you will hear me talk about visits to other gyms. You will see me perhaps from very rarely I do that, do an episode from another gym. And that's just gonna be a very tough situation. So I just be very careful, very, very mindful. I do not recommend that. And then also too, in my situation, remember, I'm a season-oriented self-actualizer. So there's going to be a point where I'm going to leave, and it's going to be and go to another gym, and it's going to be very public, and that's why I'll just always be very careful about telling people. At the club level, I'm really emphasizing that point about watching these episodes, because it's more than likely not going to have the impact that you think it will. And from an HR standpoint, HR is particularly, if there's a situation where there is HR manager, whether it's a big franchise group, corporate, or even a private owned facility that may have an HR type of function or role, HR is going to want to shut that down, because they're all about keeping their people, and they're not fans of unsanctioned training and things going on that are costing them their people. So please be mindful of that. So that's why on these episodes I say I like to tell you the truth. I like to tell you the truth. I don't want you to lose people. I want you to keep your people. I'm all about empowering people and helping people reach the next level. But there's a very important point that I learned several years ago. It's a very hard lesson when you think about what the work that I do, but it's just such a fundamental lesson, and I'm sure some of you learned this lesson as well. But that is, you can only help people that want to be helped. All right, so you got to, when people come to you and ask for help, or somebody's in a leadership or management development program, that's a whole different situation. Versus, okay, you just do this, and employees are in a situation where, for fear of retribution or anything like that, retaliation or losing their job, they're just gonna do whatever you say. In many cases, again, this is a series on confidence. If that person has the confidence to know that they have options, they're gonna be out of there. They're gonna be out of there. So be very, very, very careful moving forward. Just in all, of course, not only just, of course, in relation to Fitness Friday, but just things that impact your people. Things that impact your people. It's so important, folks. So back to the SWOT analysis. I want to talk about that as we set the framework of this episode in this series. We look at SWOT analysis. We think about confidence, though, and performing situational analyses. It is so important from a confidence standpoint to understand and to know what else is out there. What is going on? Why? Because if a person lacks confidence, and if a person battles high level of insecurities, high degree of insecurities, it is going to be very hard to break that tunnel vision. That tunnel vision to say, well, what is this gym doing? What is that gym doing? And I'm not saying do that from a standpoint, again, of this pathological insecurity that says, no matter what I do, it's not right, it's not good enough. It's just a healthy, balanced perspective and understanding the value of SWOT analyses and situational analyses to business in general, operations, to say, what else is going on? Is there anything I need to know about? What are the competitors doing? Not to make you feel bad about yourself, not to make you feel that your facility chains, whatever the case may be, gym, private studio, is doomed. It's just not this. It's not an exercise in making you or your entity feel bad. It's about, hey, just healthy, confident understanding. Hey, I'm secure in what I have to offer. I know what we're doing. I will see what else is out there, so I won't be surprised as much as humanly possible. But it is such an important point, and I've emphasized this over and over and over. It's like Amazon. You don't think Amazon cares that Walmart has the Walmart Plus program that is growing very rapidly? And again, you don't think that the people up at Walmart in Bentonville, Arkansas, are corporate or not obsessed with Amazon and their latest changes and things? It's always Samsung, Amazon. There's so many different Apple. All right, so the competitive analysis, competitive strategies, situational analyses, and SWOT analyses are so important, and very, very important in the fitness industry. And that's why it's such just an underlying fundamental pillar of what I do on these episodes. And I want to highlight a few here as we move forward here on this episode. Again, from the framework of confidence, just understanding. And I've said here in the last episode or two, good things are coming. Good things are coming. But we've got to believe it. We've got to believe it. And so I want to highlight first here, ClassPass. And so ClassPass, I don't have time to go into it. I've got a few things to cover here in the interest of time. But ClassPass, just Google it, classpass.com. But anyway, I want to highlight ClassPass Comeback Report, Fitness and Beauty Trends 2021. So I came across this a couple of weeks ago, and it's on their website. And so it's been highlighted in club industry, their news beat, e-newsletter, and other entities and such. So let me go ahead and read this a little bit. It's very, very important it's lengthy. I'm not going to go through all of it, but it says, in the 6 months since we released our annual trends report, many of the 40,000 gyms, fitness studios, and spas in the ClassPass network have been able to reopen. So we looked at the data to better understand that our at-home workouts have shifted the experiences people are returning to in person, and how we expect the rest of the year to shape up as vaccinations continue around the world. At the time of this special comeback report, 93% of surveyed U.S. ClassPass members report that they are fully or partially vaccinated. And so it talks about some of the fitness, classes that they're booking. And so these are the top 10 classes and appointments we're getting back to. Number 1, strength training. Number 2, yoga. Number 3, indoor cycling. Number 4, Pilates. Number 5, bar. Number 6, boxing. Number 7, gym time. Number 8, massage. Number 9, live stream yoga. Number 10, running. And so I wanted to highlight here, before I move on to the next example I have, the top 5 reasons people are returning to IRL or in real life experiences. This is so important. Number 1, better access to equipment. Since it can be hard to fit a Pilates reformer in a studio apartment, 2/3 of people say access to equipment is one of the main reasons they are heading back to class. 4 of the top 5 fitness genres with the highest recent reservation volumes use equipment that is typically not found in home gyms. Number 2, feeling good physically and mentally. 60% of people say in-person classes and appointments are better for their mental health than at-home digital routine. And let's face it, after a tough year, self-care is now more important than ever. Next, pushing ourselves to achieve more. 81% of people say they push themselves harder in class than they do on their own, which makes sense considering there's not a tempting couch or needy pet nearby. Next, receiving guidance from instructors. 74% of people prefer to have an instructor's direction and encouragement when working out. Shout out to our faves. Last, greater accountability. 67% of people say in-studio classes make it easier to work out regularly and keep up a routine, and ClassPass makes it easy to pencil it in. And so they have trends to expect in 2021 and beyond. And so the first one says IRL or in real life experiences are back and here to stay. And so there's a lot there. I'm not going to read it, but you can Google ClassPass comeback report, fitness and beauty trends 2021, and you will be able to find that. A lot of good information, particularly facilities that are class that have integrated with a lot of class instruction, group fitness instruction. You will find that very beneficial. So looking at the SWOT analysis, so one of the episodes, actually during the most recent sales series that I did, I talked about the value of sales promotion and how sales promotion, of course in the consumer packaged goods industry, whether you're talking about a box of Frosted Flakes or you're talking about a container of soap, a package of soap, sales promotion is a way to generate action. Particularly you want someone to take action. Okay, as opposed to an ad, and an ad may feature sales promotion, but promotion is known to generate a response, a more urgent response, because they're typically, this deal ends on this date, offer expires on this, only good for 24 hours. Okay, those are sales promotions, and sales promotion as a tactic is known to generate, whether it's incremental volume, so volume that wouldn't have been achieved otherwise, volume on top of the predicted volume, whether we're talking about, again, a box of Frosted Flakes, or in this case, an entire pallet, or thousands of pallets of Frosted Flakes to grocers across the country. And so incremental volume, so that boost, fitness facilities, membership boost, and we're going to talk more about that with a specific example here in a little bit. But first of all, so the ubiquitous Planet Fitness direct mail pieces have returned. I actually received this one. And so you can see that it expires July 16th, 2021. So the ubiquitous $1 down or $10 a month. So this is get a winning workout. It's a recent here campaign, their most recent campaign here for the summer. And as I mentioned here on most recent episodes, we're taking a look to see, and that was my thought during the coronavirus pandemic, when is Planet Fitness going to resume its marketing muscle? And so it has done so, and they've got all types of different channels in which they disseminate their marketing messages. So it is back, and so it's very important where you may see the Planet Fitness, and people may see that again from a confidence standpoint. Competitors may see that and say, well, man, we're not able to do that. We can't afford to do that. That is so expensive. And they're able to really get their message out, and their brand awareness and recall is so high, and I wish we were able to do that. But recognize, folks, as I've stated before several times, it takes a whole lot to keep that baby running. When I mention baby, we're talking about Planet Fitness. It takes a whole lot of marketing, advertising expenditures to keep that running. Why? Because they have high member attrition, and so you got people that are constantly coming and going. Both of their membership, the White Club membership and the Black Card membership and White Card memberships are no commitment. So you got to think about, when there's no commitment, you're going to have high churn, and so they're just a lot. So you constantly need new members. New member acquisition is something you are constantly doing. So just recognize, you got to have the confidence to appreciate what they're doing, and actually, quite frankly, what they're doing for the whole industry, because a lot of people can't afford that. And particularly from a business model standpoint, many entities have salespeople. They have account managers, they have sales staff, And so that's just super, super expensive. And it's very rare that you will see people that have sales staff that are going gangbusters in terms of marketing and advertising spend, because it's just very, very expensive. And so Planet does not have salespeople. Well, they're basically membership based. They don't sell personal training or anything else. They have free training, free fitness training with their fitness trainer there. And so it's just a very different model. Very, very different model. So understand that, appreciate that, but also recognize the value in what you do and what you have and the differences that make it unfeasible for you to take that same approach. And so I wanted to highlight here next, so when you talk about confidence, when you see other people, when you see competitor ads in the fitness industry and all of this and that, how does it make you feel? You see that, oh my goodness, we can't afford to do that. And I want to highlight another one that certainly got my attention, and remain on the mailing list because I went to the grand opening, and that is Crunch Fitness. Crunch Fitness, and they've got certainly a growth strategy going on here, opening different clubs in different states, and we have some locations here in Metro Detroit. And what you see here is their summer campaign. Supercharge your summer. Electrify your workouts for the chance to win a Tesla Model 3. All right, so from a sales promotion standpoint, what are you trying to do? All right, and plus at the bottom here, just for full context, it says plus, and I have to look at it here from the side because I'm reading it, plus, we're giving away 2 Samsung 4K TVs and 5 Apple Watches. Learn how you can enter today at superchargeyoursummer.com. So there you go, you got the picture of the Tesla Model 3, and this is, and I printed out these images, of course, and of course, enter your chance, and that's, all the legalese and terms and conditions there. And so that is the, graphics that appeared. Actually, I've received so far 4 emails regarding this specific summer campaign that they have. So July 31st, 2021, received at 12:20. The title of that email is It's Now or Never. Next, going back in time, July 19th, 2021, 12:01 p.m. The title of the email or subject was Step 1, Workout. Step 2, Get Entered to Win a Tesla. Next, July 8th, 2021, 12:27 p.m. The title or subject is You Could Be Pulling Up to the Gym in a Tesla. And lastly, July 1st, 2021, 12:27 p.m. it came. The title was, or subject, Ready to Supercharge Your Summer. All right, and these were included with each different email. So this is their summer campaign. And so that's just being aware and knowing what's going on. I mean, you got to give Crunch credit. I mean, very, very creative. I mean, you don't see those type of promotions, in the fitness industry. So very creative, very, very different approach to why generate membership signups. Okay, sign up, be entered to win a Tesla. So think about that. Just a very, very eye-catching way of generating interest in the facility or the chain, as well as a potential new member sign up. So wanted to show that as well. And so once again, from a confidence standpoint, don't let my sharing that make you feel, oh my goodness, there's no way we can compete with that. We can't afford to give away a car to have a sweepstake, anything like that. All right, but just recognize that's there. That's what some people are doing. So just think about what you can do. My goal here on Fitness Fridays is always to challenge you to be your best, right? Not try to compete and perhaps, particularly a private facility owner may have 2 or 3 locations, decide, oh yeah, well I want to give away a new whatever. And then they really can't afford to do that, just don't have the budget to do that. But just in trying to compete, to say, well, you know what, I'm going to put myself into the hole financially to try to compete with that. No, I want you to be your best within what you have to do. In your current promotions, what is the best that you can do? There are different ways, there are different approaches that you can do. Just think about that, the reality, and then also recognizing the reality of your situation and what is going on and doing what's best for you. Not trying to, that's just even out of the fitness industry in general. Society will have you, you got to be successful, you have to live in this neighborhood, you have to drive this kind of car, you have to have this, you got to have that. And the unfortunate point is a lot of people will chase that, and that's just not what they want to do. That's not who they are. They can't afford it. Society says, oh, this person needs to live in this type of neighborhood and all of these exclusive multi-million-dollar homes, and this person simply can't afford it, and it's a nightmare. And so we can draw that same analogy to the fitness industry, trying to do what others do as a result of a lack of confidence and insecurity will have you doing a whole lot of things that you shouldn't be doing. And so my challenge is not to do that. Not to do that. Do your best, be your best, and you will be successful. You will be successful. Know what's out there, know what's, again, from a competitive analysis standpoint, okay, so they're giving away a Tesla. Okay, good to know. There's going to be some segment of potential new members in the whole pool of the city or suburb where they may be operating. People are going to see that and say, oh, wow, I would love to do that. I'm going to sign up. I'm going to, do whatever I have to do. I want to enter that to try to win. But then there's going to be people that are going to say, well, you know what? I'm not really interested in that. That's true in any situation in life. So just recognize that, folks. And so next, want to highlight here, I actually printed this one out in the interest of time here because I got to fly through it, and there is a lot. This information is chock full of information. I'm just going to read it. And this is from Club Industry, again, in the spirit of confidence. Okay. How do you handle, let me read this, and then I'm going to make that statement after I finish reading this. All right, so the title is Planet Fitness reports Q2 revenue of $137.3 million, a 241% increase. So Pamela Kufall, content director, published this August 10th. I remember when I saw this. All right, so once again, as you know, with all my episodes, this is not investment advice. This is not an endorsement of Planet or any other industry entity during these episodes. Not advice, not anything. This is just information relevant to the SWOT analysis and recognizing what is going on in the industry, because Planet is the Goliath of the fitness industry in terms of facilities. So from a situational analysis standpoint, from a SWOT analysis, you gotta pay attention to what's going on with Planet. So it says, Planet Fitness Hampton, New Hampshire, posted $137.3 million in second quarter 2021 revenue, a 241.1% increase from $40.2 million in second quarter 2020, when many health clubs in the country were temporarily closed due to COVID-19. The publicly traded company released its second quarter financials on August 9th. As long as the COVID-19, and I'm skipping because there's a lot of this, so as long as the COVID-19 pandemic does not worsen this year, the company expects 2021 revenue of between $530 million and $540 million. By comparison, in 2019, prior to COVID-19, Planet Fitness reported $688.8 million in revenue for the year, which was a 20.2% increase from 2018. Skipping a little bit, because once again, this is not investment advice, so I have to be very careful about what I'm highlighting. You can read the full context when you Google this article on your own. Okay, in regard to membership growth, the next segment of this article states, the company added 700,000 net new members since the end of the first quarter, marking 6 consecutive months of net member growth, although the number is still below the prior year number. Total membership was 14.8 million at the end of the quarter, but by the end of July, the company had exceeded 15 million members. Membership growth in the second quarter not only exceeded net growth in the first quarter, but it also doubled what the company experienced in second quarter 2019. So let me go on here to say, in the call with analysts, Planet Fitness CEO Chris Rondeau emphasized the membership growth. We have regained approximately 75% of the members we lost from our peak in the first quarter 2020 to our low in fourth quarter 2020. I have never seen this type of unseasonable membership growth in my nearly 30 years at Planet. And some of the larger franchisees who have been with us for a good portion of that time are also amazed at the positive trends that they're seeing across their portfolios. In May, Planet Fitness ran a sale. Let me point this out earlier. Sales promotion, I just talked about that. In May, Planet Fitness ran a sales offering, 1 month free and no commitment, which resulted in a total net member growth in the month that was 3 times the growth in May 2019, so pre-COVID. In June, Planet ran a Black Card flash sale, experiencing net member growth that was nearly 20 times growth in June 2019 when it ran a similar offer. In just 12 months, our business has rebounded, Rondeau said in the call. And importantly, our franchisees are very excited about the trend in the future. It's hard to predict whether these unseasonable joins will continue for the rest of the year, but we believe that people are recognizing the importance of taking better care of themselves. Skipping a little bit here, Attrition and usage are normalizing for Planet Fitness and in some cases exceeding its 2019 level both on a regional and age demographic basis, Rondo said. During June, the company began seeing certain key metrics in its business return to nearly pre-COVID levels. National usage trended up during one quarter ending June at nearly 90% of 2019 levels. Usage in June for all demographics was nearly back to a typical pre-COVID month at usage of about 6 times per month. Baby boomers were trailing, but their numbers are still trending upward for that age group, he said. About 30% of joins are rejoins now, compared to 20% historically, Rondo said. About 3% of the joins are coming from closed competition. So think about the thousands of gyms that have closed, folks. About 40% of joins are first timers, so new member acquisition. Generation Z, or Gen Z, is joining at a rate that the company hasn't seen in the past, while join rates for millennials and Gen X are about the same, and baby boomers are slightly behind. Lastly, here in the club growth section, Planet Fitness opened 24 new clubs during the second quarter, bringing its system-wide total to 2,170 as of June 30th, 2021. Skipping a sentence, it anticipates between 75 and 100 new club openings for the year, on its way to its long-term goal of 4,000 locations in the United States. In comparison, in 2019, the company opened 261 locations. Last quote here from Rondo, entering this article, I always knew that we would come out of the pandemic even stronger, but the pace is even faster than I expected, Rondo said. I always come back to the fact that we are a purpose-led brand on a mission to change people's lives much better, which is what the U.S. and the world needs now more than ever. So, the one point I was going to make before, and I just said I'll wait till the end of this article to make that statement is, okay, can you be happy? Many people are competitors of Planet Fitness because they are so ubiquitous. All right, and they've got their goal of 4,000 locations here. So how does that make you feel? Can you be happy that Planet Fitness is all but rebounded? So they're looking at, pretty close to in all categories in terms of their demographic groups, pre-COVID levels. All right. So as I stated before, they are the Goliath of the fitness industry, and they in my opinion subsidize a lot of facilities from a marketing and advertising standpoint. Why? Because when people see the billboards or the online ads or the radio or the TV, all right, so those type of channels that are used, that Planet uses, because they have these hefty marketing and advertising budgets that are subsidized by these company-owned stores as well as the franchisee and their national fund, advertising fund. Okay, that does a lot to help other entities that can't afford to do all of that marketing and advertising. So what happens? Someone may see the billboard and say, oh, well, you know what? I used to really be active and lift weights here 5 years ago. I kind of fell off the wagon. I want to get back into it. But that lunk alarm, I used to be pretty buff. Somebody may say this, I used to be pretty buff, so I had a lunk alarm. I can't deal with that. Or somebody may say, I had a lunk alarm rung on me, and I can't deal with that again. So I'm going to another facility. So just recognize, yes, they advertise Planet Fitness, but the overall awareness in terms of fitness industry, fitness facilities, that helps everyone, particularly in medium-sized and smaller markets where there's just not a whole lot of competition and people can't afford to compete from an advertising and marketing standpoint, but also from a club culture standpoint. So there's things that your club, your facilities do regardless of who you are, what your name is. It's privately owned. There's strengths that you have. There's things that you do and your team, they do well, you do well. All right, that may not be true for a very large entity, publicly traded company like Planet, because you got the board of directors, you got the CEO, and as I've stated on a number of times, when you're a CEO of a publicly traded company, Wall Street does not want to hear excuses. They don't want to hear, well, things are horrible for us because of the pandemic and our foot traffic is down and things are just so bad. That is not what Wall Street wants to hear. And so there's a lot of pressure to perform for all publicly traded companies. And Planet is just an example of that. They are in the news a lot. They are highlighted a lot, yes, because they are Goliath of the industry, but also because they are publicly traded. So their numbers, all right, their performance numbers, earnings reports, earnings calls, that's all public information because they are publicly traded. So that is that. And folks, so I want to wrap up this episode here with a final article, and I saw this is the AP or Associated Press article, that the Detroit News, or DetroitNews.com. here ran on August 9th. So John Seewer, Seewer, published this article, wrote this article, Will Gyms Go the Way of Arcades and Movie Rental Stores? So once again, from a confidence standpoint, you got Planet rebounding nicely. How does that make you feel? Can you be happy for them? Because success for them, ultimately, again, when their budgets, their marketing, advertising budgets are going way up, that really helps the industry. That's why I really was keeping my eye on that particular fact during the close downs, the shutdowns and post club reopenings. So, but we got one here that's a real eye opener. So let me go ahead and read this. So his article, and I'm going to read it all for the sake of context because it says a lot. Going to the gym was always part of Carrie Hammer's routine until last year's government-ordered shutdowns forced her to replace the workouts with daily rides on her Peloton stationary bike. That's when she discovered something surprising. She did not miss the gym, at least not the driving back and forth, filling water bottles, changing clothes, and most of all, taking time away from her husband and 2 boys. Now that her gym in Springfield, Missouri is open again, she's slowly returning. But finding a more convenient exercise schedule at home and seeing a surge of COVID-19 cases in her hometown this summer have her questioning how much she needs the gym. She figures that if there had never been a coronavirus outbreak, I would still be a gym rat. The pandemic has reshaped how Americans exercise and upended the fitness industry, accelerating the growth of a new era of high-tech home workout equipment and virtual classes. Thousands of small fitness centers and studios that were forced to close a year ago now are gone for good. Others are struggling to stay afloat and have redesigned their spaces, turned toward more personal workouts and added online training. The question is, can they survive the onslaught from the apps and pricey bikes and treadmills, or will they go the way of arcades, video rental shops, and bookstores? Interactive fitness equipment maker Peloton is betting the workout from home trend is here to stay. It's breaking ground Monday on its first U.S. factory just outside Toledo, Ohio, where it plans to begin production in 2023 and employ 2,000 workers. Demand surged so much during the pandemic that some Peloton customers had to wait months for their bikes. While the company said the backlog has waned, it reported that sales have continued to soar, up 141% in the first 3 months of this year. Company founder and CEO John Foley thinks it's inevitable that technology-driven home fitness will become dominant, much like how streaming services have changed movie watching, calling the idea of going to the gym a broken model of yesteryear. Its next steps include bringing more of its equipment into gyms at hotels, apartment complexes, and college campuses, and launching new workouts through its app. Late last year, it acquired Precor, a company with manufacturing and product development sites in the U.S. Fitness is one of the few remaining categories that is going to be massively disrupted by a digital experience, Foley told the Associated Press. During the early months of the pandemic, most small and independent gyms and studios turned to Zoom and other video platforms for yoga and Pilates classes and training sessions because it was the only way they could connect with their members. Now, there's an expectation for it, said Michael Stack, CEO of Applied Fitness Solutions, which has three fitness centers in Southeast Michigan. Small gyms can't match the production quality and visual appeal of the high-tech companies, but they can counter with online offerings that feature personal attention and closer relationships between their members and staff, he said. I think that's the way we even the playing field, Stack said. Not all gym operators are convinced virtual training will play a significant role in what they offer. We don't have the budget to do it at the same price and the same quality, said Jeff Sanders, CEO of Apex Athletic Health Club in Penfield, New York. Digital is great, but we've seen surveys that show people want to stay active but miss the interaction and being around others. His company is planning to open a third, smaller location near Orlando, Florida that offers a more intimate experience. These type of boutique studios could be the wave of the future, he said. The pandemic has changed how the fitness industry evaluates itself, and right now everyone's making decisions just to survive, Sanders said. Roughly 9,000 health clubs, 22% of the total nationwide, have closed since the beginning of the virus outbreak, and 1.5 million workers lost their jobs, according to the International Health, Racquetball, and Sports Club Association. The industry group is lobbying Congress to approve a $30 billion relief fund for the fitness industry because many clubs are struggling to recover from months of lost revenue and membership declines and still owe back rent. While more closings are likely this year, can number in the thousands without government help, the emergence of the workout from home trend won't spell doom for the fitness centers, said Helen Durkin, the association's executive vice president of public policy. Plenty of exercise fanatics, she said, will still do both. 40% of Peloton users have gym memberships, according to the company. There's no doubt digital fitness is here to stay, said Michelle Seagard, director of the University of Michigan Sport, Health, and Activity Research and Policy Center. People are integrating their lives with technology. This is where society is and is just going to get more integrated, she said. The biggest positives with the virtual training sessions that they can offer more flexibility when it comes to staying with workout routines and can draw more people into fitness, including those who can't follow a rigid schedule. That's why people don't stick with it, she said. Sydney Kinchinelli, who's become a dedicated Peloton user after going to her gym in Pittsburgh for years, said the convenience is what has sold her. I can roll out of bed and not worry about running to the gym, she said, and I don't have to add an extra half hour for my commute, pardon me. Fitness industry leaders say research has shown that health clubs pose no more risk of spreading the virus than other public spaces, but San Francisco gym owner Dave Carricker thinks it will be a long time before many people are comfortable going into a big, tightly packed fitness center. They are going to be thinking about ventilation and air purifiers and how long ago was this equipment sanitized, he said. He reconfigured MX3 Fitness's 2 small studios and created personal workout spaces. It has become so popular, he's looking for a 3rd location. He's not surprised that people are coming back, even though safety remains a concern, folks. And finally, it says, they don't want to live this solitary existence anymore, he said. There's all kinds of motivations. Let's face facts. Gyms are great ways to meet new people, especially if you're single. So there it is, folks. Peloton is betting, hey, it's all about, this is a trend that we are going to make, perhaps according to the writer of this article. Are fitness centers, gyms, fitness facilities going to go the way of arcades, video arcades from the 80s? And so it's up to you. And I always say, from a confidence standpoint, so how do you feel after hearing that? Does that make you feel, oh, we are doomed, I just knew it? Or just to say, hey, that's one person's opinion. Those are just a few people's opinion on what is going on. How can I control what I can control to create or to maintain the reality of my gym has been successful in the past, my gym is done well, is rebounding, is going to continue to rebound and do well? Okay, where's the mindset, that confident mindset? We're going to talk about that as we move forward in other episodes or in this confidence series, to recognize that these are opinions. All right, so just make sure, yes, the digitization and the leveraging technology is something that is very, very important, and that is not going anywhere. All right, so facilities, even smaller studios or clubs that were able to leverage technology that may have been kind of, for lack of a better term, dragging their feet or slowly adopting, moving towards this hybrid model where, yes, people can come into their facilities or studios, gyms, clubs, and also have the ability to leverage technology and work with a trainer or attend group classes, whatever the case may be, online. Of course, the pandemic, the shutdowns really pushed people that may have been slowly moving in that direction to adopt that, to move in that direction. And so those have been able to thrive, but just recognize there's going to be, there's from a customer service standpoint, and that's part of what I do professionally, from a customer service training standpoint, right? There's little things in terms of a gym culture that are so important, like the people that work there, the culture, things that you have to offer that an app can't offer. All right, so just recognize that. You have the ability to connect with people, to build intimate relationships, and the apps that are able to do that, and the facilities are able to leverage that technology effective by utilizing those means to continue to develop the relationship, to continue to keep members engaged. Those are the types of entities that are here and that are here to stay and that will be around. But just that fundamental aspect of customer service, how do you treat people? Do you stay in touch with people? Do you communicate? And even, I've highlighted my current gym, Edge Fitness, and how they do a wonderful job. I mean, there's a lot of things they do well, but from a competitive standpoint, you can just, there's lessons you can learn, and that's what my journey. I talked about when I was a member of Powerhouse, right? The lessons learned, that was the co-founder's gym. His late brother passed away in 2005, and there's wonderful lessons in humility and leadership, and how obsessed he was with feedback and learning what members thought and all of that, and trying to create a great member experience from a chain that he founded here in Metro Detroit, and then Highland Park's actually the name of the city, in the 70s. And so years later, decades later, he's still concerned with that, and then moved on over to, during these episodes, you see me transition on over to Planet Fitness and learning those lessons from the Goliath, being a member of the Goliath of the fitness industry, and specifically, being a member of a gym that's owned by PF Michigan Group, which owned at the time, my last count, 50 clubs in Michigan and Ohio. So that level of success and that level of success in leadership, particularly as with Brian Reef, with the three partners, WB, Pete Hopkins, Laura Reef, and Brian Reef, with Brian Reef essentially being the face of the fitness industry in the state of Michigan, very, very visible, but very high profile, but the group is in general, when you own that many clubs, but a lot of lessons there, successful leadership and how they were able to master that, and master that franchise model for Planet Fitness, which is a very tough thing to do, but very, very successful. So wonderful lessons. I've shared those along the way. You see here at Edge Fitness, these wonderful lessons I've learned at Edge, just things that you can do. Such as, I mentioned this, and this is something that's very, very tough to compete with a corporate chain, because that is just, you walk in there, you'll see exactly what I mean. It's very tough to compete with that. But there are things that you can do. There's best practices like consistent communication, just staying in touch with your members. It's just not even just that from a gym membership standpoint, but just relationally. All right, the relationships you want to lose, stop communicating. It's just that simple. But just consistent communication, adding value, educating your members is just something they do exceptionally well. Storytelling, right? You all have stories. How you fared during this pandemic. What got you into the fitness industry? Why are you passionate about it? How does it relate to your purpose? Why did you even start a gym? Michigan Group, what led them to open up with one gym and now they have 50 plus gyms? I don't know if they have another one or any subsequent gyms since my last count, but those are all stories. Those are all we all have. So the storytelling is something Edge does well. Members, success stories of people that have lost weight, and they do a wonderful job. But these are lessons. But that is the purpose of these Fitness Friday episodes, where I share these best practices with you. So you can, again, not from a competitive standpoint, for example, walk into Edge Fitness and say, okay, my gym is going to be just like this. All right, and you've got an equipment budget of $20,000. That's just not going to work. It's just not going to work. All right, it's just not going to work. So my challenge to you is always to take these little tidbits and lessons, to learn, have the humility to look around and say, okay, go to other club websites, other entities, fitness chains websites. Just learn what's out there, learn what's going on. Have the confidence and be secure enough in who you are and what your role is and what your purpose is and what you have to offer to be able to do that. Because like I said in the beginning, if you struggle with that, that's going to be hard. You are not going to want to see, because what if I look over here and I see something better? If I see something over here that, they do this, but recognize we all have strengths and weaknesses. We all do things well. So it's always important to look and see the little tidbits of things that you can do well based on your current situation. All right, we got to always try to strive to be the best we can be, not be someone else, because we are going to fail. And there's a whole lot of people that fail professionally and personally for that very reason. Be the best that you can be. Be the best that you can be. That's why I'm always an open book and sharing my journey, my fitness journey, as well as on these Posi-TIPS and going to different gyms and highlighting different gyms. And in 2019, my fitness journey changed as well, because then I became a member through Michigan Medicine. I'm a healthy volunteer, a clinical research study participant. Since 2019 now, I've done a number of studies because they have a hard time finding healthy people that are willing to participate. Yes, the people that have illnesses and problems and issues, yeah, they want to participate because it could be some type of research or new technology or new therapeutic that may help them, but healthy people. So that's when my fitness journey really took a turn to say, I'm going to drive 30 miles each way to Ann Arbor to help in these studies. And of course, with this Apple Watch study in 2019, I'm part of a 3-year study. Apple has a partnership with the University of Michigan or Michigan Medicine, and this is an activity study. So since I put this watch on, enrolled April 30th, 2019, Apple knows exactly what my activity levels are. And so they are researching that to leverage technology, to leverage the power in terms of activity and fitness, because once again, they need people in the highly active category if they're looking at activity studies. So in addition to, they've got people, of course, as well, representative samples from all types in between, those who are not active at all, as well as all the way to people that are active. So I'm an open book. I am an open book, but I do this and I am passionate because that is a lesson Northwestern taught me. Just the humility to be able to look around, not recognize that we don't have all the answers by ourselves. There are things other entities, there's things other people do well. We can't go around feeling bad about ourselves when we see that, when we see excellence, when we see something, when we hear that Planet Fitness has rebounded. Just recognize, use that to motivate you and inspire you, and know, but also there's a lot of validation. And I challenge you to read that article. There's a lot there. And just to recognize what's going on, what are some of the trends. That's why I point out these articles for validation purposes. Okay, they're rebounding quite nicely, but they're not quite there yet. So you may be seeing, your usage pattern, your attrition rates. Just that's why I point a lot of that out. Yeah, they're the Goliath, but they have struggles, they have problems, and they have challenges too. We all do, all entities do, because none of us is perfect, folks. So be confident. Be happy for people when you see excellence, when you see something, when you hear something on these episodes that are done well. And that's why I say each and every time you watch these episodes, it's confidence building, because I'm highlighting a whole lot of best practices, and you may feel, well, she's not talking about me. She's not talking about my facility. And I feel so bad hearing all these other entities that are doing well and are doing great things. Okay, I can't be everywhere at one time. There are things that you and your facility and your teams are doing well. And so cherish those people. I've got a heart for HR, I have a heart for people. I love people, and so that's why I started this episode out, with the training piece and recognizing you don't want to lose people. There's blind spots that we all have that can cause you to lose people, and this is not the time to run off people on your staff, as a result of kind of just the experiences that you may have, some blind spots. So stay tuned for next week. We're going to continue this conversation. Next week, we're going to talk about the challenges, leadership challenges, having the confidence to make the tough decisions. Ooh, it's going to be a juicy one. I can already feel it. But folks, that's all I have for you today. This has been so much fun. I love this. That's why I just keep on keeping on. I'm going to be 95 years old, 90 Rachelle's Fitness Friday Posi-TIPS with Granny. So stay tuned for that. But until then, folks, I can't wait to see you next week. Just remember, I am positively passionate about your fitness, leadership, and absolutely your success. Make it a great day.